Okay, so let's build two really basic circuits in Automation Studio. So this is just your first kind of time using Automation Studio to build a ladder logic circuit. And I'm going to show you where to find the components and how to put them in and how to run this. It's actually quite simple. So this circuit's going to be really basic, but it'll get you going, right? Get you using this software. So we have over here Joint Industry Council. And they define all of the symbols that are used in ladder logic. So all of the symbols that are used in ladder logic have to be from the Joint Industry Council, and they come specifically in this list of contacts. So what we're going to do is, I'm just using this. If I close this or open it, this is the main kind of, if I just click on this, these are like the most common things you'll find in the JIC library. So, but I can go down here, lines and connections, power sources, and we can do lots of things. So I actually will go to power sources, and let's bring a 24 volt power source. I'm just dragging it over there, and we'll drop it down. 90 to 0 volt power source. I'm going to put it about there because this ladder logic is going to be pretty simple. So I'm not putting them too far apart. Good. So now what I want to do is I want to put some contacts and stuff. So I'm going to go to switches, and I want to use this switch. This is a normally open toggle switch. It actually shouldn't be labeled normally open because it doesn't have a spring in it. So I'm just going to call it a single pole, single throw switch. And that is I'm just going to drag it and put it here. I'm not going to connect it directly to there. I'm going to bring it over a little bit, and I'm just going to put it there. So now this is called switch 1. There. Every time you drop a component that can be named, it will ask you for the name. So switch 1. Now I want to do like a series circuit. So I'm going to bring this in, and I can connect this directly to here, or I can leave a little space. I'm going to leave a little space. Switch 2. Perfect. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to put an output here, like a lamp. Let's find a lamp. So I'm going to go over here, power sources, output components. Sweet. I'm going to click on this, and this will open up a lot more. So signal devices, a light. I'm just going to put a light in here, and I'm just going to call that lamp 1. Perfect. Okay, good. So now what I've got here is I'm going to connect this. You know what? I'm going to drag this over a little bit so that it's kind of even. I'm going to click on this and then drop it there. I'm going to click on that and drop it there. Click on this and drop it there. Click on that. Click on this and drop it there. I'm just going to hit Control Z. I could have clicked on this and dropped it there. It doesn't matter. Good. So now I can simulate this. I can press simulation. I can press the simulation button. There are these different simulation modes where you can look at later once you get into like running something where a whole bunch of things are going to happen, and then you'll want to be able to like put it in slow motion. But for now, we're just going to do a basic simulation. I can close this and nothing's going to happen. If I close this, the light comes on. If I open this, the light turns off. If I open this, the light turns on, or off, or whatever. So I have to close both of these for the light to come on. The interesting thing is, so both of them have to be closed to turn the light on, but only one has to be opened to turn the light off. So an AND is like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another lamp in here. I'm kind of doing an afterthought because the circuit from the lab actually has two of these lamps in parallel. So I'm going to go down here to signaling devices again. I'm going to bring this out here. I'll put it right underneath that lamp, and I'm going to call that lamp 2. Perfect. Now, I can hook this up a couple ways. One is I can do this, and I can do this, and I can just leave it. But typically in ladder logic, I'm going to Control Z. What we do is we have this rung over here. I'm going to connect this here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to tap it, then I'm going to go up. Sweet. So that's typically how we do ladder logic. Now, if I really wanted to make this kind of consistent and even looking, I could grab this and I can use the arrow keys to pull that over a bit. Even maybe one more. There you go. You know what? I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna delete this. I'm just gonna drag that over here and I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna put this right here. Now I can grab this and bring this up here. And that's more consistent with ladder logic. I didn't have to do that. But I mean, it kind of tightens things up a little bit. Sometimes you need a lot of space. In this case, you don't. So I've just had these outputs in parallel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build this whole circuit again, but I'm going to have the switches in series. I got a couple options. One is I can select everything, Control C, Control V, which is paste. Oops, daisy. I'm going to hit Z, Control Paste, and then I can grab this and move it down. So that was nice and easy, but I've got to put these in parallel and in series. So I'm going to break this, and I'm going to break this. I'm just selecting the line, and I'm going to hit delete. And I'm going to leave that. I'm going to put this down here, and I'm going to bring this guy up to there, and that guy to there. Now I'm going to bring this over to there. Now what I've got is I've got an OR circuit. Again, I'm going to simulate this. I can close this, and the lights will come on. I can turn this. I can open it, and the lights will come off. I can close this, and the lights come on. So either of these switches can turn the lights on, but if I do this, this switch doesn't have the power to turn them off. This switch doesn't have the power to turn them off. If I simulate this, this switch and this switch have to turn on. So neither of these independently have the power to turn these lights on, but either one can turn the lights off. Interesting. And that's where you're going to get into this last circuit here, where you're going to use three-way switches, which are really cool, where either has the power to turn it on and or off. If you want, you can try and draw this one as well. Let me just stop the simulation, and I'll show you where to find the components for these guys. Output components, switches. If you want, you can try and draw that switch, but you have to go into, we don't have those switches. Typically, those switches aren't actually used in ladder logic. You don't see them in ladder logic. So, but you can go to the IEC standards, and you can find those contacts there. And you will find a two-position switch. I'm going to drag that in there, and I'm going to hit Control H. I mean, I know how to do that because I've used this program so many times. But you can. I'm going to hit Control Z. You can also right-click and do transformation and rotate right. There you go. So if I wanted to, I could use this. You know what? I'm going to do this. Just, you know what? I'm going to do it. Copy, paste. Nice. I'm going to drag that down there. Let me just drag it a little further so that this guy, I'm going to hit Control Z. I'm going to paste, and I'm going to drag this down. No. Control Z. Okay, Control Z again. I'm going to hit paste. I'm going to grab this very carefully. All that, it didn't happen. Okay, Control Z again, which undoes everything. I'm going to hit paste. Now, everything's selected. I don't know why when I tried to move one thing, it jumped out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this, delete this, delete this, delete this. And I can actually just grab all of this and delete it. Okay, good. So I'm going to do this. I have this already here. I need two of these. I'm going to go Control, Copy, Control, Paste. Sweet. Now I'm going to flip this around. I can hit Control H twice, which rotates stuff. And then I can actually just stick these guys together, and they'll stick together. And I'm going to grab the whole thing. I'm going to bring it down here, and then I'm going to maybe grab this thing. You know what? We want to be consistent with things. So this is kind of weird, so I'm going to bring that up. Isn't this a great program? Now, what I can do is I can run this simulation. Although these are not actual symbols that are used in JIC, so we don't put three-way switches in ladder logic, but we can. So this one can turn it on. This one can turn it off. This one can turn it on again. Actually, if I turn this, wait, let's open both of them. If I close this one, it turns it on. If I close this one, it can turn it off. So either of these has the power to turn it on or off. So if I open both of them, the lights are off. This one can turn it on. I'm going to undo that. This one can turn it on. Now this one has the power to turn it off. And if I go back to here and I turn this one also has the power. Sorry, let me just turn this on. This one has the power to turn it off as well. So that's really cool. So the lab that you have to do, you have to build these two circuits here. If you want, you can throw this in too, because it's probably a good exercise for you to do that as well. Although, like I said, typically we don't see three-way switches in ladder logic. I'm just going to bring those out like that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to escape, and I'm going to bring this over a little bit here. This is a great program. There, that looks a little bit more consistent. So there you go. I'm going to just drag that down, and those are all nice and pretty. Okay, now you're an expert at this. Have fun. Okay, bye.